Welcome to Global World Watch. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. In September 2025, global trade was jolted when Poland abruptly closed its key border rail link with Belarus at Małaszewicze. This crossing was the main artery for the China-Europe Railway Express, the so-called New Silk Road. Overnight, the vital rail connection between Chinese factories and European markets was severed. Over 90% of all China-EU rail freight passed through this single point. Trains carrying electronics, car parts, and clothing, usually reaching Germany in just over 2 weeks, were suddenly stranded. The closure sent shockwaves through the logistics industry. Thousands of containers, each a promise to a customer, were stuck on tracks in Belarus. Logistics managers from Shanghai to Berlin scrambled as schedules collapsed. Billions of dollars worth of goods were frozen in place. The hum of the Iron Silk Road fell silent, exposing the fragility of global supply chains. A single political decision had disrupted trade for an entire continent. The China-Europe Railway Express, once a symbol of modern logistics, now revealed its greatest weakness: over-reliance on one route. The shutdown forced the world to question the stability of this critical trade link. The event was more than a logistical hiccup. It was a wake-up call. The new Silk Road's vulnerability was now on full display. The world watched, uncertain of what would come next. The border closure triggered chaos across Europe's supply chains. Freight trains piled up for miles in Belarus, loaded with time-sensitive goods. Smartphones, car parts, designer clothing, all stuck in limbo. Just-in-time delivery models collapsed as factories ran out of components and retailers missed critical deadlines. Financial losses mounted daily. Logistics companies scrambled to reroute cargo, but alternative crossings were overwhelmed and sea shipping added weeks to delivery times. Costs soared, and many companies passed these on to customers. Consumers soon noticed higher prices and empty shelves. The disruption revealed how interconnected the global economy is. A single border closure in Poland rippled out to affect workers in Germany and shoppers in Spain. The invisible machinery of global trade was suddenly exposed and broken. The entire continent felt the impact of one closed railway gate. The crisis underscored the risks of relying on a single trade corridor. Europe's supply chain vulnerabilities were laid bare. The search for solutions began immediately. Poland's decision was driven by national security. Military exercises in Belarus and a surge in unidentified drones near the border raised alarm in Warsaw. The government declared it could not guarantee the safety of the rail corridor. The closure was a precaution against potential threats to critical infrastructure. The European Commission expressed concern, balancing security with the economic fallout. Brussels began talks with Poland and looked for ways to upgrade alternative crossings. Neighboring countries like Lithuania and Hungary eyed the opportunity, but their infrastructure was unprepared for the surge. Bottlenecks quickly formed at smaller border points. There was no quick fix. Europe's main northern trade artery was effectively shut. The crisis forced a major re-evaluation of Europe's trade routes and security priorities. China responded swiftly, launching diplomatic talks with Poland and the EU. Beijing urged a quick resolution, but also began searching for alternative routes. The Belt and Road Initiative's reputation was at stake. Chinese logistics firms explored detours through the Baltics, Kaliningrad, and the ambitious Middle Corridor via Central Asia and Turkey. Each alternative posed challenges: longer routes, more border crossings, and limited infrastructure. The crisis accelerated investment in these alternatives, especially the Middle Corridor. Ports and rail links in the Baltics and Central Asia saw rapid upgrades. China was determined to keep trade flowing, proving the Belt and Road's resilience. The search for new Iron Silk roads became urgent. The closure was a setback, but also a catalyst for innovation. China's global trade ambitions adapted to a new reality. The Małaszewicze closure exposed the fragility of global trade. Over-reliance on a single route proved dangerously short-sighted. Companies and governments pivoted to diversify supply chains, mixing sea, rail, and air to avoid single points of failure. The EU invested in a more resilient network of trade corridors. The Belt and Road Initiative shifted from a single line to a flexible web of connections. The crisis forced innovation and adaptation, making the system stronger in the long run. Geography and politics proved inseparable from trade. Balancing security and economic openness became a central challenge. The silent tracks at Małaszewicze were a stark reminder. Global lifelines require constant vigilance and cooperation.